Hello, welcome to Thursday night's Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN. Your chance to have elite cybersecurity on 10 devices from one account for the price of a cup of coffee every month. I'm delighted tonight to be joined by Record Sports' Michael Gannon. Mick, good to see you.
How are you? You all right? Hello, everyone.
Good. And I'm also delighted, first time in a while, to welcome on Record Sports' Fraser Wilson. Fraser, it's good to see you as well.
Evening all.
How's things? How's it going?
Good, mate. I'm just glad to be in my own comfort of my own house. I'm usually kind of pulling in halfway down the M8 to speak to you or chittering at Parkhead after European night. So all good, nice and comfy, mate. Let's get cracking.
Absolutely.
Listen, Fraz's nickname is Levi's. He's always done by 501.
Oh, come on now.
Oh, an early reducer, Fraz, an early reducer.
Actually,
before Levi's, but that is not true.
I was going to say Newport, but he's not in here. He says long finished.
Well, actually, talking about Record Sport colleagues who aren't here, Keith Jackson's on holiday this week. And before we went any further and talked about football, I just wanted to make sure you guys have seen
he starts at 501.
His holiday snaps. He sent me over a few of the pics. I just want to make sure that you guys have seen them. I mean, I think he looks. That's a bold look. The tartan kilt on the beach, but I think he pulls it off. The sunglasses are a classic. The log flume though is my personal favourite.
I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that. To be fair,
putting the suntan lotion on the log flume's a bold choice, but there you go. If anyone can get away with it, Keith can. He'll be back next week, so that'll be good. I'm sure he's really enjoyed me putting up these pictures.
Well, we were just talking about 1990s and the garish goalkeeper kits. I think Keith's choice of shorts there take that to another level, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Remember the Mexican goalkeeper in the 94 World Cup? I can't remember his name. That's actually shades of the Mexican 94 goalkeeper.
The way that came running outfield, like the wee
Yeah.
What's his name again? Remember him.
It's not. I know. Ochoa is the current goalkeeper, isn't he? Who could become the first guy to play at 6 different World Cups. This summer. There you go. We'll talk about Scotland a little bit later on. Obviously, the friendlies against Japan and Ivory Coast coming up. We might also touch on the Rangers share issue news that came out last night, and maybe even the title race with Hearts. But the first place I need to start, guys. Our colleagues at All Out Football have sat down with Celtic midfielder Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he spoke about his most recent Old Firm clashes and the intensity of the rivalry. And before we chat about it, I think we can look at a very exclusive clip.
You're now at Celtic. What are you enjoying about it so far?
I think just being back in the country and in this culture. Obviously, I went to Turkey for a couple of years, and it's a different culture out there, and the way that they see the game, and just being in a dressing room with not many English or no English lads really, it's different. So I think just coming back into a good group of lads that are like-minded and shared similar experiences, it's really good. And I'm lucky enough to be at another club that's massive and is really competitive, and there's pressure and expectation and all of those things. So it's just exciting, and it is a big club.
The last 3 to 4 weeks, I mean, you've played Rangers twice, right?
Yeah.
Man, you got to talk to us about that rivalry.
I don't know if we played and we've had a few scraps with them, but I don't know if there wasn't much soccer from us. It's just different. I can't explain exactly why. It's different. And I think I spoke to Robbo, and after the first game, and I didn't have a good game. I came off at half time, and I said to Robbo, that wasn't pretty. He said, I told you, it's not football. That game it's not pretty. It's a war, and you find a way to win.
It's gladiators.
It is like even off the pitch in the tunnel, like the rivalry between staff and players.
It's mad. It's not like City United or Arsenal to Spurs.
It's different.
It might be spicy for the hour and a half, but that's like forever. You can't mingle or do anything. No. You can't. It's crazy.
It's not. You're either one or the other. There's no sitting on the fence up there. You're Rangers or Celtic, and that's it.
I should thank our friends at All Out Football for that clip. And if you want to watch the full podcast, there's a link in our YouTube description. But Mick, he wasn't lying when he says he didn't have a good game in his first Old Firm debut, wasn't it, Ibrox?
No, but listen, first of all, it's nice to give the guys a plug. You can also say our show is far more successful, so it's good he's a bit of a leg up.
I know.
Give him a wee helping hand, give him a wee bit of a showcase, but it's worth checking out. His first Old Firm game he went the way of many kind of big name guys who got their first taste of that fixture, whereas he was completely swamped by it, wasn't he? Yeah. It seemed to pass him by. I don't think Celtic's game plan particularly. I say game plan. I'm not entirely sure what the game plan was that first half and the 2 each game. It seems a long time ago now, given what's happened. But it passed him by. He got caught in the ball a few times. It just seemed a bit fast and frantic, and it just seemed to kind of flash past him. And the second one he came on as well. I don't think he's quite delivered just yet. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think it's always going to be tricky for him coming in, having not played for nearly a year. We're now into April, not done 90 minutes yet. Doesn't look like he's at the point he can get 90 minutes yet. I think he's kind of in that kind of dangerous category where he could go either way. It could be what do you call him? The Rangers player again, Aaron Ramsey kind of level. You can see his quality. He can ping a pass. He reads the game, but the ferocious pace of the football up here seems to be catching him out at the moment. He might get there. He's got 7 games to go. He's going to have to get there. He'll need him. He showed moments. I mean, he showed against Livingston. His last minute winner was a bit of quality. Yeah. Excuse me. And he was unlucky in not scoring against Mull as well. But a lot of games that seems to be kind of taken aback by the sheer intensity and ferocity of the games. But he might get there. He might get there. He's a quality football player. He's just running out of time. The road's getting closer and closer. So Celtic could do with him really finding his old form from back in the day. But whether or not he can or not, I don't know. Was he 32, 33 later in a year? Not played a lot. It's a tough school up here. And I think he's learned that kind of the hard way.
You can see in the comments, Chris Gardner says you'll see the benefit of the Ox from the bench at the home games that are left. And Tam says Celtic only brought him in to keep the fans happy after a dreadful transfer window. And if you're watching at home, let us know your thoughts, get involved in the conversation. I've been a bit disappointed in him, Fraser. I think, like Mick said, he's definitely got quality. We've seen little flashes of it. I actually thought he could be the difference between Celtic winning and losing the title when he came in. But I know it's hard, he's not played in a year, but we've noticed this guy's played in Champions League finals and won the Premier League. This is, he was an elite player a few years ago.
That's exactly it. Like you, I thought he was going to be that marquee signing that would take Celtic to the next level. Look, straight red card for him straight away for calling it soccer, talking about playing their soccer. I don't know where that's come from. Straight a bad start for him straight there. Maybe that's where the problem lies. But the commenter there that said he'll have a big part to play off the bench in the kind of business end of this season, I think Celtic have got to expect more than that from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. The money will be on. The experience is brought. He's got to be going in for the start and controlling games alongside Callum McGregor. Those two at their peak should be able to stroll the game up here, but it's just not happened so far. But, if a 32-year-old, he's not past it. I get that he's not played for a long time, and it does look like he's taking time to build up to the pace and the ferocity that Mick talks about. He was definitely caught out in that mayhem of his first Old Firm. Probably produced a wee bit more in the kind of worry attrition that was the second derby of that week when he came off the bench and helped Celtic dig in, produced a little bit more there, done his piece, but just over the piece he has been underwhelming. Maybe he's edging towards that category, that list of names. Again, Mick mentioned Aaron Ramsey or Joey Barton, so those big names that have come north of the border. Sorry, I'm just plugging in here because the battery's about to beep out. Come north of the border and just been absolutely battered by the ferocity and intensity of your game. I thought when he came off the bench and won the game, his debut against Livingston with that magical touch and really brilliant composed finish, I thought, here we go, he's going to stroll it. But just not seen any of that recently, have we? I read Mick's bit of the weekend for the game at Tannadice about kind of the wayward pass that almost summed up Celtic's season. Yep. And I thought that was pretty much on the money. Expect far much more from him, and he is running out of time. It's now or never really for him to step up and help Celtic rescue this title defence.
And Mick, you can see there, Andrew Carter says in the comments, I think Ox thought he'd stroll it up here. He probably didn't. And a lot of people slag off the standards of Scottish football. You know, there's no money here. But no matter what you say, I think you summed it up perfectly. It's a very hard skill up here.
Yeah, I don't think that suggests that he's maybe come up as a kind of Billy Big Time and thinking he's going to walk it. I don't think like a Joey Barton. Now, Joey Barton saying he's one of the best players in Scotland, and he was kicking about the Open Championship rather than doing pre-season training, and he thought he was stroll it. He did think he was stroll it, and he got a rude awakening. I think he's spoken to enough guys. I mean, he's good pals with Andy Robertson, obviously, and spoke to him before he cut. So I think he knew what he's going into. I just think he's just too rusty. He's not played for it since last May when he arrived. So he know he's training with Arsenal, but that's not the same as playing games. He dropped into the thick of a title race with Celtic, and it has been difficult for him to catch up. And Scottish football is a bit wild and blood and thunder, and at times it can be direct. I touched on it at my last comment. I don't think Celtic are particularly playing at his strengths. I don't actually know how Celtic are actually playing right now, and I don't think they know how they're playing right now. I don't really see kind of patterns of play or a game plan. Celtic. I think Martin's managed to get results over a period of time, but I don't actually know what the game plan is with Celtic. If you're building the game, letting someone drop deep, then move the ball in the midfield, get it to Ox, then get him out to wide and build. I don't see any of this. Celtic seem to be, sometimes they go direct, sometimes they try and pass it about, then they go direct. They're trying to get the ball out wide and to get balls in the box, but they're not in the box. I don't really know what the strategy is at Celtic. It seems to be the strategy is just go out and win, however means necessary. But Celtic, when the players are getting it on the ball, there's no instinctive play or passages of play, like patterns of play. Do you mean like Oxlade-Chamberlain? Listen, I know he's not had much training time. None of the team at Celtic have had a lot of training time, a lot of games. But if you pick that ball up, if you're playing week in, week out with guys you know and you're trained and drilled, you know where they're going to be at all points in time. You don't need to think about it. You got pass that ball, it goes there, you spin in there, do that. Everything with Celtic is so deliberate. It's almost the kind of it's slow and kind of, but it suggests to me they don't really know. They're like, who's free? Who can we get it to? It's like there's no instinctive patterns of play. That's maybe because the games are becoming thick and fast and there's not a lot of time in the training ground. It's because the manager's interim. He's got a coaching staff that's been thrown together. It's not a coaching staff that's been built together and forged together. It's been thrown together. So there's maybe mixtures of game plans and bits and pieces here. And you can see it in the pitch. You can see it. You've seen it all season on the pitch. There's 3 managers have been this season. So it's now at a point where the messages have been completely distorted from 3 different managers. 4 if you put in Martin's 2 reigns. It just looks disjointed. And I think Oxlade-Chamberlain could function really well if he gets a pre-season and he gets those patterns of play and gets drilled in and gets a strategy. At the moment, he's looking over his head, high balls flying past him. He's trying to fight for scraps, which he's never been that kind of player anyway. Or he's picked the ball at the middle of the park and he's got 3 guys trying to snap at his heels. So I feel for him. He's not quite been the guy that people thought he was going to be yet, because Celtic aren't the team that they really need to be yet either. So it's a bit of a bad combination.
I get that. It has come very quickly for him. Just on that, I would expect Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Callum McGregor to take control of that themselves with their own experience on the park. Just tell those round about them, listen, calm down. This is what we need to do. There is no pattern to what we're doing here. This is how we've done it before. Oxlade-Chamberlain's fought for Premier League titles, Champions League titles. You know, he's played at the very top end of the game. He's a class player. He's experienced. I'd actually love to see what they bring off the park as well, these guys. I've got no doubt he's got a great attitude, the guy. I'd love to see what he's like in terms of raising training standards, what he says in the dressing room. We will never get to know that. But there is a bit more to it than what you just see on match day. But unfortunately, that is how he's going to be judged. And as we keep saying, he's running out of time for that. Oh, here we go.
We've got another guest on Hotline Live. Unbelievable.
Right, just a minute.
It's like that famous COVID clip, isn't it, with the BBC?
It's the BBC News, isn't it? Well, actually, that's...
Why is he calling me mum?
Somebody else, Raz.
I was going to say, the cat's out the bag. We've got some comments on it that I need to run through. Anyway, McKenna says Celtic used to play through the defensive line with runners. I think they're now playing in front of the defenders. Riley says the English call is the Farmers League. but they're quite happy to pick our crops, especially from youth academies. And Rebel points out Engels will hopefully make a difference with Johnson, better quality around the Ox. It's a fair point as well. But is it too late? That's the big point you made, Mick, I guess.
Well, we'll get about 10 days or 9 days from now, or 10 days from now, to kind of come up with a plan for Dundee and for the remaining 7 games. So maybe a lot of guys in international duty as well, so they may have to do some kind of Zoom call with them all, get some kind of plan. Yeah.
What we obviously
Georgie Campos.
That's his name. Well done, Fraser.
What a shout, Georgie Campos.
That's a great shout.
The wee man just came and told me.
Short sleeve, used to wear short sleeve gold tops, didn't he? The first guy to do that. The Hawaiian efforts, brilliant. Aye, good shout.
In other news, guys, Kevin has been in touch with the hotline, and he's not holding back. He says, Kevin Morton says, well, the Rangers 49 spin doctors and cheerleaders have surpassed themselves this time. They're taking yet another Ibrox share issue with the made the White House press secretary Caroline Levitt blush, or maybe I'm doing them with the service. Are they just incredibly stupid? Tell us what you really think, Kev. But that's a good segue, guys, into the Rangers news that Andy Newport brought us in last night's show. I mean, what do you make, Mick, of generally Andrew Kavanagh's impact at Rangers and his time so far at the club?
Listen, there's a few things. I think, first of all, his communication with supporters has been excellent. I think he is been on the front foot. Listen, maybe the American influence there. I mean, that's the way they operate out there. He's been very transparent. I mean, they made mistakes early on, quite a few whoppers, but they quickly addressed them and fixed them. They've been aggressive in their strategy in terms of buying players, spending money, throwing money into it. But the communication for me is the main thing. I mean, listen, they put prices of the season tickets up this week as well, which is not always a popular thing to do, particularly when this title race is not done yet and they don't know where it's going to be. But it has been transparent. He's been open and honest. The fact they're going to put more money in. And this is the time of year usually you hear about Rangers saying, "Oh, the board or our guys are going to put in X amount of millions," but usually it's because the phrase "to keep the lights on," because they're running such losses. Listen, they had pretty hefty losses last season, but that was before a few players departed, and I think obviously they spent again. So listen, they have to. I did get the feeling reading between the lines that they're going to be a bit more kind of. They're not going to be quite as splatter cash as they have been. They're going to be a bit more kind of prudent in terms of where the money's spent. But the fact that they're putting money in, they're being aggressive. I mean, January, I think Rangers got a sniff. I think if you said to Rangers fans back in October about the title race, they put the white flag up and said, right, we'll start again next year. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think they had a sniff in January. Kavanagh and their backers have thought, right, we've got a chance here. They've went and spent money again. I think that the recruitment in January was pretty decent. I think Romans looks a cracker and he's changed the way that they play. I think that he could be the sign of the season. Nadiri, I think, is still raw. He's added a bit of dimension, but if he adds a few goals, he might come good. He's a young kind of striker. Jaquani, I think, has added a bit of beef in the middle of the park, which is needed. I think Scov Olsen hasn't quite caught fire. We're talking about the Ox, but he's got quality and he might produce in the next coming weeks. So he's been aggressive. They've been ambitious. They clearly have got long-term and medium and short-term goals, which they're determined to meet. They can sense that perhaps the tide in Scottish football is changing. Celtic, having looked like they had a monopoly and looked like a movable object, now are completely vulnerable. They're facing a major rebuild in the summer. It could take them a year or two to get back to where they were, if they ever get back to where they were. But in fact, I don't think they'll ever get back to the kind of dominance that they've had, because I think there's a new Rangers show in town, and they're going to be there year in, year out now. Whereas up until 18 months ago, they would have a go now and again, and the money would run out, and there was cutbacks. I mean, you thought Clement was getting his budget slashed. Even I think Van Bronckhorst, after getting to the European final, had to make some savings. I mean, Gerrard was moaning about the not kicking on after winning the league. Whereas now I think there's a kind of aggressive strategy. I think, listen, they can't keep making losses, and these are investors. They're not benevolent benefactors. They're not just chucking money in this. They want him to return on investment. So at some point, Rangers are going to need to get the player recruitment model up and running and getting the kind of break-even model and functioning eventually. But in the short term, they've been aggressive. They're expanding, and they want to get control and dominance. And if you get a chance to foothold the Champions League, the money starts coming in as well. So yeah, if you're a Rangers fan, you're thinking there's a bit of a structure, there's the cohesion, there's a strategy, there's adults in the room, there's no more silliness off the field, which they've had for years. And yeah, so listen, I don't think they're going to be throwing money around daft. But it looks like there's a plan in place and a long-term strategy. So yeah, I think you can fault them.
In the comments, very quickly, Alan Black says it's 2032. Oxlade-Chamberlain's finally played a full 90 minutes. Celtic are losing 3-0 to Livingston. James Forrest, now 124, scores 4 goals to deliver another title. Elsewhere, Ibrox62 says maybe Celtic should take a page from Kavanagh's book, start by having their CEO sit amongst the supporters. I'm sure that would do really well. Graham Brown says £60 million share issue, Champions League cash, plus the money we'll get for Manny Fernandez, looking good for the future. As Rebel says, Champions League cash might be a bit premature, but as some of the comments say, Fraser, at least there's communication from the Rangers side of Glasgow. At least fans can hear the plan, can hear Kavanagh talk. He gives the odd interview. I mean, it's just complete silence from Celtic.
Aye, it's been a breath of fresh air on that front. The American, absolutely brilliant. The lines of communication, a number of times is seen at Ibrox. You know, he is properly invested in this project, and the fans will love that. I just think sometimes we get a wee bit carried away with money injections. Rangers spent £40 million on players this season. 40 million. They've got less points than they had at this stage last season. They've not reached any cup finals. And in Europe, they were absolutely woeful. So they're not as good as they were last season. I think that's... However, they could still walk away with a title. And I think that is a barometer at which we'll gauge most of these signings. So many of them, the kind of jury's still out for me. You know, obviously... The big money, Yusuf Chermiti. If he's to score another couple of massive goals after the split, say against Hearts and Celtic, they'll be calling for a statue for the guy. If he doesn't, and Rangers don't win the league, that price tag's just going to continue to weigh heavy around his neck, and he'll go down as a flop, perhaps. I'm not sure about Nadiri. Works hard. Gassama started like a steam train and has gone right off the rails. Telo Asgard, not sure, although he seems to be brilliant for his country. Oliver Antman, big money, but no return. Bojan Miovski, I thought would be brilliant. Again, just doesn't seem to have done it, despite hitting 10 goals. I think pass marks go to big Manny Fernandez, to Romans, who's been a brilliant signing, as Mick said, at left back. And I do like the look of Tochi Chukwueze, and a couple of the loan guys, particularly Mikey Moore, have brought value. But I just think for £40 million Rangers are spent this season. And it's all coming down to crunch now, the next 7 games, whether that has been good money. Because, to get back to your point, £16 million invested to go into transfer kitty, that's all great news, but it can very easily be frittered away on average players. So I think they need to improve their recruitment for that to be a positive. But just in terms of the whole Andrew Kavanagh reign, it's been a breath of fresh air.
Just before we move on to talk about Scotland, well, we're on it. I mean, I wanted to very quickly get your take on the title race, Fraser, because I'm forever pestering Mick for who's the latest favourites, who's going to win it. Tam McManus was on the show last night, revealing that he's pledged to wear a Hearts kit at Tynecastle the first day of next season if they win it, and he reckons they are going to do it. Do you think now Hearts are going to get over the line?
First of all, that's brilliant for Tam, innit? Good one. Brilliant.
Yeah, he looked genuinely terrified.
I watched that. I mean, thankfully, it won't be quite as bad as Gary Lineker and his undercrackers on the match of the day that time when Leicester won the league. But along similar vein. Look, to be honest, I thought Tam was warming up for that kind of fashion humiliation last night with that kind of golfing get up he had on. Had to reach for the brightness mode on my phone watching that. But I agree. Hearts, I think all 3 title runners right now are going to spill points. I think most people expect that. Hearts can already afford to spill 2 more than the rest of them. They've got that advantage. I've seen them. See, the last 7 games I've covered the Hearts since the turn of the year, they've won 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 3-0, 2-0, 1-0. 7 games in a row that I've covered. There's been a couple of defeats in there that I was nowhere near. Maybe I'm a lucky woman, I don't know. But they just have this calm assuredness in their defending. People keep talking about the pressure ramping up. it doesn't show in their defending. Again, I was there against Dundee last week. They were not producing much at the front end, and it was starting to look a concern. You could feel the anxiety growing in the stands at Tynecastle, and Dundee carried the real threat on the counter as well. But honest, considering they lost Craig Halkett in the warm-up, Stuart Finlay was already missing through injury. Frankie Kent comes in, Jamie McCart comes in, and it's just business as usual. They are so composed in their defending that I honestly think Hearts are going to get over the line. And the biggest thing to add to that is the other end of the park where Lawrence Shanklin's come back. Again in that game against Dundee for 54 minutes as I hinted at there. They really did produce nothing. Braga was struggling to get in behind. And then 54th minute, as soon as Lawrence Shanklin comes on, they've got a focal point. They've got strength at the top end of the park and a guy that just knows how to cause carnage in the opposition box. His link-up play, just that direct desire to get shots on goal, instantly turned the game, and eventually Hearts got their winner. Shanklin didn't score it, but on it, he cannot put any words the importance and the impact he had in that game, and will continue to have as long as he stays fit. I think his return is a pivotal moment in this title race, so I do think Hearts will see it out. Incredible.
Mick, I agree with Fraser now. Looking at the league table there, look, I'm not daft. 7 games is there's going to be tons. No, not tons. There's going to be several twists and turns for now and the end of the season. But I think Hearts are going to go over the line. I think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think Hearts have got this really good knack of grinding out results. Not having to play, not playing particularly great. I don't think the way they play, they're never going to control a game and pass the ball about and dominate possession for 90 minutes and cruise to a victory and then see it out like that. Not the way they play. They are direct. They're physical. They get set pieces. They can stay in a game and then wait for a wee opportunity, and they tend to take them. They've been really ruthless this season. I've seen a lot of games between Hearts and thinking they haven't looked that great, but they're getting results. You get every week from Hearts. They're the best grinders in the division, and they're getting there. Rangers, I think, are still the big threat. I think Rangers, they had the double setback against Celtic. But those games were a bit the second one in particular, in the cup tie, Celtic just kind of sat in and hoped for the best and managed to see it out. Rangers didn't have that quality to kind of break them down. On their day, I think Rangers have got a slightly higher ceiling. I think if you get guys like Chermiti and Skov Olsen and these guys, and even your Gasamas and others, on their day, the levels are higher than the other ones. But they're too flaky, which means that they can chuck in a bad one somewhere. So it means that it's live. And Celtic, the dust settling from Tannadice, they're still in there, and they're going to have, if they get through Dundee. The big thing is, I think Dundee after the break is huge for Celtic. They get through that with 3 points.
That's a tough game, Mick. Really tough game.
I wouldn't be putting any money on it. That's for sure. I wouldn't be putting money on it. But if they can get through that with 3 points somehow, they've got 4 out of the last 6 at home, including Hearts and Rangers.
That's true.
And that doesn't really mean a lot, given the way Celtic are playing and given the lack of control they're having over games, even at home. I watched Mullow the other week dominating the possession against Celtic until they went down to 10 men. So Celtic aren't out of this because of the way the chips have kind of fallen, but they need to find a way of playing. Rangers will play the way they've been playing and hope that the individuals can hit their highest points. If they do, they've got a great chance. Hearts just need to keep doing what they're doing. I've got a sneaky feeling that Rangers are going to get in over the line, but we need to throw in the tension aspect. That what they're going to do when the heat is really on. Yeah. Rangers have kind of slipped up in recent weeks when it's been right on them. Hearts haven't. They lost it at Kilmarnock, which anyone can lose at Kilmarnock. Obviously lost to Rangers at Ibrox, but they bounced back. They always seem to bounce back. So yeah, what I'm saying is I've not got a Scooby.
That's a long way of saying that.
3-minute answer of not a clue. Unless I say win the league, and every night I say something different. We're on
the same. Nobody knows.
Rotate it, Mick. Just say one of them, and then next, just go through all 3.
I can't even remember what I said the last time either. So that's the worst thing.
This is the beauty of it. We've been crying out for this. Almost our whole life. Who can remember Aberdeen winning the league in '85? None of us 3. Been crying out for this our whole lifetime.
Absolutely. The last thing that I want to talk about, guys, tonight is Scotland, of course. World Cup warm-ups coming up against Japan and Ivory Coast. First of all, guys, how good is it not having to be on tender hooks, having to play a playoff at this time of the year? You can see all the playoffs that are happening tonight and tomorrow. I mean, can you imagine being in a bear pit of a qualifier away to Czech Republic or Denmark or something like that? It just feels amazing to be relaxed and to be able to watch it and go, listen, we'll be in America.
It's brilliant.
That is nice, but do you catch it? Tender hooks or tenter hooks? You said tender.
See, as I said that, I thought,
tender hooks maybe something else. I don't know, but that's one that the old subbidders will pick up when you're copying.
We'll edit that out.
That's when the old subbidders would shout at you for that kind of thing back in the day.
Thank God we're not live.
Back when they had them. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's good to kind of have that kind of in the back settled. I mean, it's hard to get up. It's difficult. These friendlies are hard to get up for, aren't they? Because of that, though. Because we're middle of a like Fraser's saying there now, the middle of a kind of dramatic title race. And it's like, right, everyone pause, catch your breath. Let's now have two meaningless friendlies. One of them that's not even in our country. It's down the road. It's like hard to get a bit excited, really. I don't mean that, but it's Scotland, and we'll all get excited when the kickoff comes round. But in the meantime, it's a bit of a kind of, we're all kind of paused for breath in terms of domestic football. And I think once we get the end of the season, it's going to just be World Cup fever. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think we need to know anything about this Scotland squad now. There's nothing really. I mean, I hope Steve Clarke does try a few wee things. I want to see Finlay Curtis and maybe a few other bits and bobs, because we know everything about this Scotland squad now. We do. We know how they play. We know these guys. We trust them. They've done the job for us. What we need to find is there any wee other bits of magic that are going to come out the blue they can take to the World Cup? That happened years ago. Remember, we had the big Billy Gilmore and Gannon Doak kind of coming in late and just that wee bit of magic late on. That's what I need to see. We're going to, is there something that's going to be different that is going to make them give the Magic something to think about in these games? You want to win them to have a bit of momentum as well.
Yeah.
We went to a Euros a few years ago and we lost about 10 friendlies in a row, and we went there in the dumps and get thumped. So we want to try and build up some momentum as well. So I hope to see a wee bit of magic and some good results just to give us that spring our step to take towards June, July, and all the way to America.
One of the comments that have come into us is from William. He says, with SFA dragging their heels over Clark's future, I think he's done everything he could possibly do with the players. It's disposable and he should go. Scotland will be lucky to win one game at the World Cup. I can't see them beating Morocco or Brazil, as their players playing at top teams in Europe and elsewhere. That leaves Haiti, but I only hope that they prove me wrong and qualify. Regardless of predictions of the World Cup, guys, Steve Clarke's future, I mean, I think it's all a bit mad. Like, if he wants to stay, give him a new contract. I mean, what more can he do? 3 out of 4 tournaments. And people say, his style of football isn't great. I mean, look at the Denmark game. He scored 3 goals that could easily be considered 3 of the greatest goals in Scottish football history. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Ian Maxwell said 2 months ago that they wanted this sorted out before the World Cup. So you got to hold him to his word. I mean, I know Clarke came out last week and made it sound like they've not spoken about it. But Maxwell was very clear in January saying they wanted this, expects this to be sorted before the World Cup. So we've got to take him at his word. I wonder, Clarke said he was 50-50 on it. Still doesn't completely convince me that he's keen to stay on. Has he got an eye on returning to club management? Couldn't blame him. It's been a 7-year stint in international football is incredible. Hats off to him for that. And then to produce 3 qualifications, if he can make history by getting us through this group and becoming the first Scotland team to reach the latter stages of our major finals, what a way to bow out. I mean, he's already reached legendary status in my mind. That would just cement it for him. On the flip side of that, as a Scotland fan, I hope he stays, because I just like winning games and qualifying for tournaments. I don't care if it's a pragmatic approach. Look at the scenes at the end of that Denmark game. Remember the Spain game at Hampden. There's been so many brilliant moments under Steve Clarke. Selfishly, I want him to stay on the Scotland manager and continue this streak of qualifying for major tournaments, because we had 20-odd years of getting nowhere near them.
Aye, absolutely. Aye. Mick, what's your thoughts?
I agree with SNP Gun Platoon. Check my eyesight here. I agree with this one. I think Stevie was, to use the phrase, I think he was at it last week. I think, listen, speaking to Ian Maxwell over the years, the impression I get from Max is that Steve Clarke's got a job for life if he wants it. The job he's done with Scotland has been so remarkable that if he wants to stay Scotland manager for as long as he wants, it's his. Obviously, there's other aspects, there's financial things, and you name it, right? I don't think Ian Maxwell was concerned about the whole offer of contract because it's going to be down to Steve. He wants a new contract, he'll get a new contract, no matter what happens in the World Cup, and rightly so. He's got us to 3 major finals and a return to the World Cup. Job done. If he gets through the group stages, it'll be start you time for Sir Steve. So I think the whole Scotland contract thing is a bit of a red herring. I think Stephen is sitting down with his "come and get me" t-shirt. Let me see. Let's float the idea that I might stay with Scotland, because I think in the past it was like, I'm going to do this and I'm 75, 25, I'm off into the sunset. But maybe the phone hasn't rang as much as he thought at this point in time. I think Stevie's sitting going like, just want to see my options here. If anyone's interested, maybe over there near Hampden, that's looking for a manager in the summer, we'll have a chat and we'll talk about it. I think Steve has been cute. I'm not saying he would walk away from Scotland or he's desperate for that job. I think he would be, to be honest with you. I'm saying that. That's my opinion. But I think Steve is sitting wearing the "come and get me" t-shirt at that point and waiting and trying to smoke out some clubs that may be interested in a manager for next season. And you see what happens. If it doesn't get any offers that he fancies, he might want to stay. Or he does well at the World Cup. You might think, you know what, what is he, 62? It's not old in managerial terms. Celtic have got a 74-year-old in charge, so he's a mere pup just now. But I just think he's waiting to keep his options open. I think it's probably the phrase more than "come and get me," but it's not far off it.
Do you think he'd be swayed by Celtic, Fraser?
He'll have earned it. I think the whole club. I think it'd be a challenge like he's never had before. He's managed in the Premier League and done very well there with West Brom. Managed Reading, did fantastically with Kilmarnock. Remember, over a calendar year, so not a season, but over a calendar year at Kilmarnock, he actually had the best points tally in the Premiership.
I think you're right about that. I remember that.
At the end of the day, but it's a fair, impressive stat. So he was incredible at Kelly, and he's done fantastic for Scotland. He is a good manager, but he's never had that shot at European football at crack and maybe getting into the Champions League. I do think, sometimes you just can't picture certain managers and certain jobs. I actually can't picture him in the Celtic job. But I think he's earned that type of job and he should be in the conversation.
Jock in the comments says, if Scotland don't keep Clark, they're idiots. And Alan Farlow says, are you people on drugs? Steve Clark will be knighted when we win the World Cup and then leave. And I think, guys, that is the perfect note for us to end Thursday night's Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN on. And Alan, I hope you're right.
He needs a drug test, but I love his sentiment.
Does Monjaro count?
Thank you for all the comments, not just Alan's. They've been brilliant again tonight. Fraser, Mick, it's always an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining me.
No worries, guys. Catch you later on.
Yep.
You're welcome for the wee surprise guest earlier as well. I will never live that down.
I thought it was great, actually. I thought it was a great wee cameo. Tell him thanks very much, Fraser.
That wee Horgie.
Campos, aye.
We'll be back on Sunday at 6 p.m. We hope you can join us then. Thanks for watching.